Good evening, friends. We're back again, reading passages from Inner Work of Avodat Hashem. We're on page 81. Many people who learn Torah think that the learning itself is everything. Everyone is certain that learning the entire Gemara is a high level, as one acquires the information that is written in the Torah. It is believed that the learning itself fixes our souls, and that this is what God wants from us. Some people think that when all of Israel knows the Torah like they do, then the Mashiach will come. This is not what it says in the Zohar. So a similar teaching as previously around knowledge, about understanding, around information of the Torah. And this can be applied to any spiritual teachings, that learning itself is everything, that knowledge-based, mind-based acquisition is everything, and that learning the entire Gemara, the entire Talmud, is a high level, as one is acquiring all the information that is written in the Torah. But information is information. It's not transformation. It is believed that the learning itself fixes our souls. That he's saying that this is what the common sort of mainstream Orthodox perspective is that the learning itself fixes the souls, and that is what God wants from us. And that if when all of Israel knows the Torah like they know, that they're so knowledgeable and learned in Torah, then the Mashiach will come. And the Rav is saying that that is not what it says in the Zohar. And basically, he's giving his opinion that that's not his opinion at all. It's not the opinion of Kabbalah, that it's not through knowledge, it's through transformation of one's being, through work on oneself, from moving from being a receiver to a giver, from separate self-consciousness to unity consciousness, and doing the work of Emunah, embodied faith. The holy books state in many places that redemption and Mashiach will come through Kabbalah. This is because the inner wisdom of the Torah brings us to the essence of Judaism, the transformation from desiring to receive to desiring to give, right? So that's basically the answer to the above statement, that actually the holy books state that the redemption and the Mashiach, the Messiah, the transition between the Galut, exile paradigm, to the Geulah, the redemption paradigm, it actually will come through Kabbalah. It comes through the mystical teachings of Judaism, and I would extend that to all the mystical teachings. This is because the inner wisdom of Torah brings us to the essence of Judaism, right? The inner wisdom of Torah, which is the Kabbalah, brings us to the essence of Judaism. What is the essence of Judaism? The transformation from desiring to receive to desiring to give. The transformation from moving away from a separate self-consciousness that is completely consumed with its own needs and its own self as a separate entity, and moving into a state of unity consciousness where you understand, and not just understand, but you feel that the other is an extension of yourself. And I want to take this moment to be clear that unity consciousness doesn't mean the dissolution of self. It doesn't mean that the self is now nullified and dissolved completely into some identityless unity consciousness, uniformity of being. As the Rava said in other places, every individual, their experience of God is a unique manifestation. It's a unique shining of God's light in the world, and each of us is that unique expression. And so unity consciousness doesn't mean we all become the same thing. We all become this like walking oneness machine. That's all the same. There's a continued uniqueness that is part of the sacred paradox of the Kabbalah, is that we continue to keep our unique self, but it's the manifestation of the highest expression of that uniqueness, not a uniqueness based upon ideas and identity and memory and roles and all different current human identifications that we think is our uniqueness, but it's a uniqueness unlike anything we've ever experienced. It's the true pure uniqueness of each of us manifested as souls embodied. We need to realize that selfishness is unacceptable and that our personal and collective happiness depend on us attaining the state of loving others. We need to realize that selfishness is unacceptable and that our personal and collective happiness depend on us attaining the state of loving others, right? So again, selfishness, separate self-consciousness, separate self being absorbed in separate self-consciousness is unacceptable. And our personal and our collective happiness depend on us attaining the state of loving others. When we truly love others, not from a self-centered position, not from a self-centered position, we gain a true and pure happiness, because we're no longer loving in order to get. Most loving is in the economy of love. We're loving in order to get love in return, in order to get something. And loving selflessly, or from a unity consciousness perspective, is loving others without trying to receive. And that is when actually we receive the true happiness, because we're no longer trying to receive, but actually our happiness comes from giving, and our happiness comes from loving others, because really we're loving ourselves through them, because everyone is an extension of us. We're all family. We're all cosmic family. God wants from us only one simple thing: to root our lives in loving others. God wants from us only one simple thing: to root our lives in loving others. Yeah, just feeling into that, feeling that is what God wants. One simple thing: to root our lives in loving others. Loving others is seeing the God in them, seeing the pure soul in them, seeing the awe, the magic, the wonder, not seeing their masks of identity, not seeing their roles, not seeing the masks that we all hide behind to feel safe in this world, but piercing through to the core of each other to see the beauty, to see the true sacred beauty in the other. Like when you look at a deer and you see its beauty and its awe as a creature of this planet, as a creature of the divine, of the universe, when we can look at each other with those eyes and pierce through all the layers of shields and masks, that is truly loving another. Not trying to get or change them, but just seeing that beauty and loving that in them in an honorable and respectful way. I think that's really important to mention that. Sometimes seeing is actually intrusive or abusive. It's when it's not welcomed, or it's infiltrating into someone in a disrespectful way. We have to be really respectful. That is also part of loving, is taking space and listening to what the other wants and not crossing boundaries that are either explicitly or unexplicitly expressed. The Ari HaKadosh was a spark from the soul of the godly Tana, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Beautiful expression here. Many people ask. Someone asked me recently, does Judaism believe in reincarnation? Absolutely yes. Yes, yes, yes. There's a deep tradition of reincarnation in Judaism, and especially that comes from the Ari HaKadosh by Isaac Luria. He wrote a huge book called Shar HaGilgulim, which means the gate of reincarnation. And this passage right here is expressly saying that he was a reincarnation. The Ari HaKadosh was a spark from the soul of the godly Tana, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The purpose of all spiritual practices in the Torah is to fix our hearts. We were created to fix our hearts. Letaken et halev. Tikkun halev. Kol hamitzvot v'aktuvot b'Torah hein b'kedei letaken et lev ha'adam. Ki ba'avur ze nivra ha'adam kedei letaken et halev. Purpose of all spiritual practices, all of the mitzvot, all of the commandments and the writings in the Torah are to fix our heart. Letaken et halev. We were created to fix our hearts. We were created to repair our hearts. Again, our hearts are the mechanism through which we are able to love another in the pure way that I described just previously, to see the God in another and to love that God in them and in ourselves. It goes towards ourselves as well, obviously, to love the God in ourselves and to love the God in others. We're here to repair our hearts. Our hearts now are most of the time loving in order to receive love in return or to receive something else in return. And the Rav is saying we were created to heal and repair our hearts so that we can love in a pure way, which is the deepest divine service that we can do in the world, is to love another, which is why it's so important, especially nowadays, with the tremendous amount of polarization that's happening in the world, especially in the West, where we are othering another. We're making them subhuman, less than human, because we don't understand them. We don't understand their politics. We don't understand how they could vote for or support this person or this action, and they become foreign to us. And that creates this gap of understanding and makes space for anger, hatred, and even killing one another, because then they are subhuman. And this pathology that's running through our culture right now is a pathology of dehumanization, and is running rampant like a virus, moving through culture everywhere, all over the planet. And it's the absolute opposite of this work. It is the deep, deep darkness that is covering over the human heart. And the Rav is saying we're here to heal that heart, to be able to love another. The root, the simple work of spiritual practice, the one thing God wants from us is to love another, not to distance ourselves and to other them as this foreign alien that we can't relate to, which makes them non-human. So really, the deep, deep spiritual work right now is to bridge the gap, is to heal our hearts so that we can, even if we don't understand or don't agree with another human being, that we're able to still love them. We're still able to see the God inside of them, shining forth from them, and to honor that. Doesn't mean to agree. It doesn't mean to support things we don't agree with. Just means to, at the core and the root, to see the God in them and to still find a way to love that God in them as a divine service. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.